So today is day 3,200 and something of my running streak. I'm in Hampshire on a beautiful old train line that Queen Victoria used to take to come down to the Isle of Wight. It's changed a bit since then. It's a lovely morning. It's a bit misty. It's quite cold, which is why I'm wearing gloves. We're going to run about a mile and a half and then turn around and run back again. And you're coming with me. Let's go. Today I'm running with marathon addict and author Phil Hewitt. Thanks so much.
Good morning.
For coming.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, you're a local. You've run this trail before, right?
I love this place. This is my favourite running place. Just think of it as the most beautiful mind tunnel. It's just a brilliant way of sorting out everything that's happening in your mind, just calming down. And it's just bliss. It's so lovely at any time of the year. Gorgeous this morning with the cold and the mist, a bit in the autumn. It's just wonderful. Yeah, wonderful colours, and it's so lovely in the summer and the spring. It's a great place.
So this train line presumably finishes down at the coast at or used to at some point.
Well, it used to go all the way down to Gosport, I think. And as you say, Queen Victoria's come down along here to get towards Bourne House. You think of all the gates, and further down there's a few sort of bits and pieces, sort of remnants of when it was a railway line.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So bits of old stations.
So a mine tunnel is an interesting expression, but you're famous on Twitter for being a marathon addict. We can talk about that, but you have a fascinating story about using running to overcome or to outrun your demons, and there's a reason I say that, because that's the title of your book.
That's the title of the book.
But maybe tell me about exactly what happened to precipitate this. It's a horrifying story.
It's a long run.
We've got 3 miles.
I've always been obsessed with running. I always loved running, but equally always been obsessed with cricket. And I'd always dreamt of going to watch England play abroad. And I had that chance in February 2016 when England were playing in South Africa. And I got tickets very easily to see England play a one-day international at Newlands. Absolutely gorgeous cricket ground.
So this was a bucket list thing for you to do?
Well, it nearly was my bucket list, yeah.
Closer to the bucket than you'd...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just a glorious day. It's a stunningly beautiful ground, and England lost, and England were a bit rubbish, and gorgeous South African supporters around were just taking the mick that I travelled all that way to see Jos Buttler out first ball and Joe Root out for about 6 or so. Just left the ground on a high and just didn't think about getting back properly. I didn't make any arrangements, and the ground was about 6 or 7 miles outside Cape Town.
So I just thought, were you on your own or with you a bunch of people? How did that?
I was meeting up with a mate and a former colleague who had worked in Chichester with me but had gone back to South Africa, and he was in Cape Town because his daughter was getting engaged. So that day, yes, I was by myself. He was off at the engagement party of all things. So there I was at the ground, didn't make any arrangements to get back, just thought I'd walk. And I asked a few people, am I going in the right direction? And said, yeah, but I wouldn't do it if I was you. And
was it a highway or just a sort of normal street? Or?
It was the ground is in a lovely suburb of Cape Town. But you soon leave that suburb behind. And after about 3 miles, the only way into Cape Town was to walk alongside a motorway. I was thinking, oh my God, what have I got myself into? So I was ambling along the hard shoulder.
And you were completely on your own, there were no other...
Completely on my own. Right. Thinking, should I stick a finger out and try and get a lift? But no one was going to step on a motorway.
Yeah.
Then the hard shoulder stopped. So I scrambled up onto a sort of grassy bank.
Jesus.
And then that stopped. I was thinking, what on earth have I got myself into?
Yeah.
And I looked across the motorway and could see on the far side there's a path leading down. So I legged it across the motorway, which was a bit scary, scrambled down the path into a housing estate that kind of looked okay. Wandered through that, came out the other side and recognised where I was.
Right.
It's just vast, open, urban, desolate wasteland.
Jesus.
This place called District 6, which was a massive housing area for black community in the 1960s, but it was just cleared under apartheid almost overnight, and bizarrely exactly 50 years ago to the month before I was there. But the significance is it's just about the most dangerous place in Cape Town.
Oh crap.
So I was looking...
You know that? Did you know that at the time?
Well, yes, some alarm bells rang.
Christ.
Thought it shouldn't be here.
Yes, I would be.
But it's flat, and I was just looking straight across it and can see central Cape Town probably about 2 miles away.
Right.
So I just thought, stride out, get across here, and I'd be okay. Sort of stride out for 25 minutes or so, and everything would be okay. But within about 2-3 minutes or so, I heard pitter patter behind me. Blake came up to me and very, very colourfully asked for my camera and seemed to punch me.
And it was your camera just hanging around your neck?
Yeah.
Right.
I was reckless, I was stupid. I was striding out with a lovely camera around my neck, my favourite Rolling Stones t-shirt, floppy cricket hat.
Right.
Naive.
Basically with a big sign saying mug me.
Mug me, absolutely.
Oh dear.
Just naive, and I think I don't know if it's a male thing, but that sort of assumption, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure I'd have thought exactly the same thing.
So he seemed to punch me twice, which sent me over. I pulled him to the ground and he landed behind me and was starting to sort of knee and kick me in the back and the neck.
And you were sort of defending yourself, presumably.
I was trying to.
Yeah.
We were struggling, pulling on the camera, and it was pretty painful being kicked in the back. I sort of rolled round so he was facing me and he was trying to knee me in the throat, kick me in the stomach.
And nobody was
Touching
around? Right,
no one at all. And when he was in front of me, I looked down and saw my leg was plenty of mud.
This is frozen.
Plenty of mud. Sorry, looked down and saw my leg was just absolutely covered in blood, just completely awash with blood.
You were wearing shorts, presumably?
I was wearing shorts, God, yeah. Yeah, it was a lovely evening until that moment. And realised that he hadn't punched me at all.
He stabbed you?
He stabbed me.
And did you see the knife?
No. That is one of the traumas. So interesting you asked that. I think in some ways everything would have been so much easier if I'd seen that knife. But I never did.
Would have sort of closed the loop somehow.
Well, to some extent. Because I think I'll always wonder, did I knock it from his hand when I pulled him to the ground?
Right.
Or did he actually choose not to finish me off?
Right.
Because when I saw it was all the blood, I let go of the camera and he just got up and I had really pissed him off by fighting back, and he just stood there and just kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked.
Jesus.
Just stood over me. And what was the point really? Because there's no way I was getting up.
Yeah, he stabbed you, you were bleeding. That just adds insult to injury.
Yeah, and I just wonder why, given he was so angry, did he not just finish me off? Maybe he did drop the knife, maybe he was being bizarrely merciful, I don't know.
Right.
And God, something like that happens. It's just so difficult to get it out of your mind, obviously. It's a stupid thing to say. One of the things that really sticks in my mind is when he'd finished kicking, he just ran off. And I was looking at him thinking, are you going to turn around? Are you going to look back? And he didn't.
You were probably out of his mind by that time.
Well, yeah.
And how old was he, this kid?
I have no idea. I don't think I actually looked him in the face, probably early 20s.
So how long was the whole episode?
Oh, probably a minute and a half or so. So I couldn't stand up, but he'd sort of pushed me onto a grassy bank. I crawled back onto the pavement and just lay there.
And you were in a great deal of pain, presumably?
No, that's odd.
Really?
I think just total shock. I do not remember the pain.
Really?
I remember the blood sort of spreading around me on the pavement.
Oh, Christ.
I remember the thought, and it's odd, yeah, consolation in a way. As an absolute Rolling Stones obsessive, I was lying there thinking, if I'm going to die, at least I'm wearing my favourite Rolling Stones t-shirt, which is a stupid thought, but
it is a crazy,
nice thought in the circumstances. But then, yeah, it's all a bit horrible really, but
so what,
I was just thinking, also, I just found this overwhelming tiredness. I just wanted to lie back, just shut my eyes and have done with the whole thing. And I suspect
That would have been
if
it.
I had done that, that would have been it.
Oh Christ.
And just
thinking
so
about it.
tired, just wanted to shut my eyes. And I could feel my vision going really sort of wobbly around the edges and starting to sort of almost pixelate around the edges and become a bit more sort of tunnel vision and just fading. And I suspect that was, I don't know, either blood loss or shock or
Shock.
don't know. But just something in my mind just kept saying, prop yourself up.
Yeah, don't go to sleep.
No, just try and look around, try and look like you're alive. And so I had my trusty Garmin on, as I do wherever I am, whatever I'm doing.
Right, well,
I know that it was about 2 minutes later, this pizza delivery driver pulled up. I was conscious of a sort of slightly blurry car with red writing on the side. And this fantastic guy just got out, walked towards me. A guy called Stephen from Butler's Pizza Company of Cape Town, dressed like a butler, poor guy, bow tie and a sort of frilly shirt, delivering pizzas. Got out of the car, just walked towards me and took charge of absolutely everything. And he did something that would never have occurred to me. He sort of yanked me up, hopped me into the back of the car and shoved my leg up on a pile of pizza boxes.
just to elevate your leg.
Yeah,
Clever.
oh clever. Completely trashed his pizzas though.
I guess there were some disappointed pizza customers, but
With an extra little suspicious flavour, yeah. We just go straight there.
Nice.
But I think the other thing that really, let's just say, so shockingly in my mind from that, is he had this lovely assistant with him. A girl who was, I don't know, about 16, 17, something like that, really lovely face. And I don't think she'd realised why he stopped. She hadn't clocked what was happening. She just got out of the car, walked towards me, and suddenly realised. And her face, just it's like it's a Scooby-Doo moment of horror. Just her jaw dropped.
Oh dear. Yeah.
And she just stood there, frozen face, staring at me.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel pretty bad about that.
Morning.
Morning. And Stephen, the pizza guy, settled me in the car and to go back out and drag her back in. But he was magnificent. He took charge.
He took you straight to the hospital.
Took me straight to hospital. I was getting a bit wobbly. By the time we got there, he dashed in, came out with a wheelchair, shoved his phone number in my hand, wheeled me in, and I was stitched up. And I had about 18 stitches.
How much blood have you lost?
I don't know. Really don't know.
How long were you in there for? Overnight?
No, that's the thing. I think the treatment was a bit brutal in some ways. The doctor was very nice, chatting about wanting to move to Surrey, of all things, which I think in hindsight was a distraction.
Yeah, just to calm you down and get you thinking about something else.
Yeah, but he sewed my leg up, I think, while I was still bleeding, and it just swelled enormously, which was so painful. So he took those stitches out, put another deep inside, and then stitched it on the surface, and then leant against my leg, and the whole thing just turned black. So there was a deep puncture into my thigh.
And whereabouts on your thigh? On
About
the side?
6, pardon?
Whereabouts on your thigh? On the side of your
Just
thigh?
side
on
of the thigh. Side of the thigh.
Sorry.
And about a 6-inch gash to my calf.
Christ.
Absolute classic, I'd say professional hit. If you want to immobilise someone,
Yeah.
puncture the thigh and slash the calf, that will do it. 3 broken ribs and pretty battered and bruised all over.
No doubt.
And it's all a long story, but I had a pretty miserable night sitting alone in my hotel apartment. It's odd, it's the one thing I have lost in the story. I think they made me pay for all sorts of things and then tried to sell me a pair of crutches.
Fuck.
At which point, I think I refused. I think I threw a bit of a wobbler and insisted that they get me home. But I have no...
You just don't remember it. Well, the
Don't remember
adrenaline
it.
must have still been coursing through you even at that point.
I think so, yeah. But so no recollection of it, except they must have given in and taken me back to the holiday apartment, which was deserted, and left me on the floor in the room. I didn't even switch the light on.
Oh my God,
I
really?
couldn't stand up. So I just sat in the darkness until the next morning, when I could start to contact a few people. Next morning, crawled.
Nobody knew until that time.
No, I couldn't get hold of Tony, my mate, who was out at the engagement party. I FaceTimed my wife Fiona back home, which is not an easy call to make.
No, she must have been beside herself.
Oh, awful. Yeah. And I think it took a year or so to realise that everything that happened to me, my God, it's so much worse before Fiona, who has been an absolute saint, just completely brilliant. You know, all the time I was in South Africa, I kind of knew how I was. She didn't.
Ugh.
And contact wasn't easy.
How soon did you fly home after that?
I stayed on for a week.
Really?
And went back to another cricket game.
Oh my God.
But Tony made sure his daughter delivered me and picked me up.
Yeah.
And I think just staggered on through adrenaline, really. Not wanting to be the party pooper.
Yeah.
Not wanting to bugger up his happy week for his daughter's engagement. And just trying somehow to make the most of it. And I think it was only once I got home that whole thing just really hit me. Just what had happened. Just how close I'd come.
Yeah. Were there times during the ordeal or afterwards, in the immediate aftermath, when you thought, shit, I could die? Or
Oh yeah,
really?
Definitely. Definitely, as I say, I thought...
That's 2 miles. Why don't we...
Yeah?
Seems like an appropriate place to turn around and talk about the recovery. Let me come on this side of you.
Yeah.
So how long... So what were the effects when you got home, apart from the pain and all that
the
sort
effects were...
of physical stuff?
I'm a journalist, and so my whole life asking questions and usually getting answers. And I got back just absolutely besieged by all these questions with increasing degrees of irrelevance and pointlessness.
Yeah.
All these things I wanted to know about. You know, for instance, did I knock the knife from his hand? Did he decide he wasn't going to finish me off? Was he high on drugs? Was he a professional hit? What did he get from my camera? Where did he go? Had he been following me? Just all these things. Also, you know, at what point did it become inevitable? Could I have avoided it right up until that moment if I'd handed my camera over?
Should you have fought back and all that? Yeah.
Well, yeah. And just, I think the problem was just endlessly thinking about these questions with absolutely no hope of ever getting an answer. And I was just driving myself around the twist. And it's about three weeks to the day after the attack. Fiona said, let's get out, let's go to shopping, a quiet Sunday afternoon, get you out of the house. And I was standing in Boots the Chemist in Fareham of all places on a really quiet Sunday afternoon and just had the most monumental panic attack.
Really?
And it was hideous. I didn't know I was going to scream, throw up, faint,
Christ.
just burst into tears and just stood there for a couple of minutes and just rode it, just trying to control it. I think the weird thing is probably no one noticed. I didn't suppose it was apparent to anyone. I just fought it, came through the other end, told Fiona what had happened. We got back home, she said, you've got to go back to the doctors. So I went back to see our practice nurse, who is a lovely bloke, but sickeningly a 2:39 London Marathon runner.
We don't like him.
The swine. I said, this happened. I know what's wrong. My wounds are clearly infected. He looked at them and said, they're healing really nicely actually. Do you think you ought to speak to someone? At that point, I didn't want to. So I just worked out my very own stubborn git,
Right, yeah.
2-point recovery plan. The first part of which was just to write everything down. Absolutely every detail, everything that had happened, all the humiliations, all the thoughts, all the fears, all the questions, everything. And then the next day, I went for a run. And it was 3 weeks after the stabbing, 3 broken ribs not healed, 2 fairly fresh wounds in my leg, still battered and bruised all over from the kicking.
Yeah.
But just something.
Yeah, what was it that
Just
made you
something
think,
cleared.
what was it made you think, I need to run? Because I sort of get that, but I can't put my finger on
I
why.
think it was instinct. And I think it's all down to the way you try and define yourself. Those weeks I was Phil, who'd just been stabbed, could so easily have died if things had not been very much different. And I wanted to get back to being a Phil who had run 30 marathons at that point. I wanted to add some more.
Yep.
And it was just being out there running. It was just the most phenomenal release. Just something cut through all the nonsense in my mind. And I just felt I was back to being me again.
And did that feeling last after you stopped running?
It did, yeah. I felt
fantastic.
physically so much more battered for going out for the run.
Yeah. But mentally.
But the mental trade-off was just astonishing. So I kept on running. I kept on writing. And what I was writing became the book, which is now Outrunning the Demons.
Yes, but well worth the read.
Thank you.
Fascinating. Really moving book.
Thank you.
But it's not just your story, it's
No,
the story of many others.
absolutely. And that was the interesting thing of working with a really, really, really good publisher, Bloomsbury. I was presumptuous enough to send off the book as it was, which was just all about me and my recovery. And I was so lucky. This lovely guy, Matt Lowing, the commissioning editor, read it and saw its potential.
Was he a runner as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he took the view quite rightly that there was limited commercial potential in a book about one unknown stabbed runner,
Yeah.
which is absolutely fair enough. But he said, why don't you broaden the whole thing and turn it into much more of a survey of people who've run in the wake of awful things happening. So I sat on Mr. Google for a few days with the world's worst search history, just tapping in murder, runner, marathon, bombing, etc.
Yeah.
And came up with a number of people to approach who had stories to tell. And they were just absolutely awesome.
Some of the stories are extremely moving.
Oh,
Really heartbreaking. And
Yeah.
as a runner, I kind of feel some sort of kinship with the people.
definitely.
Horrible.
And these people are so open and honest. And the lovely thing is, they kind of became my support group. They'd been through terrible things,
Yeah.
a little bit further down the line than me. They were so interested in what happened to me, just so kind, just so generous. And as you say, the stories are just amazing. And the first story I came across was this lovely woman in Queens, New York, called Teresa Jamona, whose husband,
Yeah, that was horrible.
a New York firefighter, and would you believe his 40th birthday
Yeah.
was on 9/11, the day we now
And
know
it
as
was
9/11.
his day off and he thought, no, I'm going in to help my colleagues,
Yeah.
and never came home.
Well, he'd worked the night before, and his birthday dawned, came off shift, went for a little run ahead of a family day. When he got back to the station, 9/11 was kicking off. So he got back in his kit, straight down there, and he was never seen again. His body wasn't even found.
Jesus.
And that was the day of his 40th birthday, and his big birthday present to himself was to run the New York Marathon, which was about 6 weeks later. And in their grief, Teresa and the family, they had four girls under 10.
Wow.
They just could not bear the thought of his number not going over that line. So they got together, 13 mates, family, friends, standing 2 miles apart, and they tag teamed his number over the line. 6 weeks after he died, his number went over that line. And to my mind, that is just the most awesome symbol of healing, isn't it? Faced with something absolutely awful.
Well, you can.
What do? You break it down, put it back together again. And it was a degree of healing.
Well, you can either control it or let it control you, and as you did, going out for a run when you've been assaulted, and you've got broken ribs and bruises, but
I'd have gone a bit nuts
to it, rather than let it happen to you.
Well, instinctive self-preservation route.
Yeah.
I was going slowly nuts, I think, and that's what running does. I think running is just so brilliant at undoing trauma. It really, really does unpick all the elements of trauma.
I remember the fascinating guy called William Pullen in
heard of him.
in Hyde Park. He's
psychologist, isn't he?
Yes, he's a therapist, but he takes his clients running. And fascinating guy, really interesting, but speaks very much to what you were just saying. Thank you. Running is good for you. It helps you.
The big element of trauma is you are just absolutely fixed in that moment. Even now, a big part of my mind is on that pavement.
Really?
You can see that blood. I've got that thought, I might die here. And it's not a memory. It's not processed. It's not in the past. It's just there. But running, being here now, hearing each other breathe, feeling the cold, it just is phenomenal for bringing you back into the moment, isn't it?
Yes, keeping you in the moment. That's something that William was talking about.
Yeah.
It's unparalleled for that.
And the other thing, I think trauma is incredibly isolating. I think for a long time I was just thinking, no one can understand this. No one's been through this. But running, through the book, through all the people I've spoken to, it's a proper community.
Yeah.
And you and I chatting this morning, it's community, isn't it? It's running together.
Yeah. I think it's a wonderful thing.
It's such a sharing thing, isn't it? And running can be whatever you want. You can be totally solitary, or it can be the most sociable thing you can imagine. Well, it's just brilliant. You just adapt it to your needs, don't you?
I've really benefited from this YouTube channel, the opportunity to run with so many interesting people and have so many interesting conversations during runs that I wouldn't have otherwise done.
Well, runners are just nice people, aren't they?
They are, very much.
They're sociable, friendly, chatty, don't judge, and just incredibly supportive.
Yeah, because you're doing something difficult, and it's difficult doing things that are difficult. And if it was easy, everybody would run every day.
Yeah, I do. It's like my mindset's kind of changed. I look at other runners and think, yeah, there are loads and loads and loads and loads of happy runners, but I always wonder why the person I see coming towards me is running.
Yeah.
So I'm sure an awful lot of people are running for really quite dark reasons.
Oh, running's got me through some terrible times. Terrible. Yeah.
And what do you think it's done then?
Well, it's just allowed me some space to process my thoughts and allowed me to be in that moment, not thinking about what is going to happen or what could have been.
Yeah.
It forces you into that here and now for half an hour or whatever.
Well, it's such a buzzword, isn't it? But it is mindfulness, isn't it? It's being here, being in the moment, being safe, being secure.
So
and it's just silences.
What are the
all the
takeaways
questions
that you've had from the whole experience, from that day in South Africa to writing the book, to speaking to people about mental health?
There's a lovely runner in the book called Caroline Elliott, an Australian runner who was doing an early morning run, and she's confronted by two teenagers who told her that they had a gun and they're going to rape her, and she kind of negotiated what she was prepared to do, and it was still a very, very, very nasty, hideous sexual assault. And in the aftermath of that, she tried to kill herself in a way that really hideously scarred her stomach. But she has turned it around in the way I try to. She now takes the view that you've got to love your scars. And I try to do that with my scars. But
interesting.
Really conscious of them all the time. Sort of tingling, funny sensation, slightly painful, but always there. But in a way, I'm fond of them. Fond of that sensation. It's just like saying, you're still alive, you survived. And I think if something like this happens, there's no point thinking, get over it. You've got to go with it. You got to learn from it. You got to move on with it. You got to learn to love your scars, as Caroline said. And so many great things have happened as a result of what happened. I think it's odd.
Well, you'll have helped dozens of other people in the process of both writing the book and people reading the book.
I'd love to think so. I'd love to think so, but it's absolutely mutual. They've helped me. And I think it's odd, isn't it? Life just speeds up, doesn't it? And you're in your 20s and 30s, 40s and 50s, and it's just flashing by. And I think if something comes along like this, something that really makes you think about what matters in life, it's really difficult to regret it. If something makes you realise family, how important it is, makes you realise friendship.
The old cliche of that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
It's
and if something comes along and just painfully makes you realise how fragile life is, really is the thinnest of threads. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a very mature attitude, that's for certain.
Well, it's not a noble attitude. I'd drive myself around the bend if I thought otherwise. But I do genuinely believe it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And the whole book experience has been great fun. Meeting interesting people. I was on the Jeremy Vine show, which was great. On the Today programme.
Really?
Just new friendships moving forward.
Well, you're someone for whom running was an important part of your life, but it sounds like it really saved your life. Not in that moment, but subsequently.
I think, yeah, family and friends, massively important, but running too. I don't think there'll ever be a day when I'm not unaffected by what happened. I'm just incredibly jumpy, and bizarrely it's really affected my memory.
Really?
Memory for names is just rubbish, and concentration is poor, and sleep is mostly pretty abysmal.
Really?
But against that, the pleasure of running with you today, the response to the book, great things, really happy things have happened because of that day. And I just hope the guy who knifed me is okay, really. I certainly wouldn't wish him any ill. I just hope he's still alive. But I suspect you can't go around knifing people in Cape Town too long before someone turns around with a gun. But I just hope he's still with us.
Oh, Phil, that was a lovely run. It was really nice to hear your story, having read it and read all about
running and talking. That's multitasking, isn't it?
Yeah, if you can't talk while you're running, I think you're running too fast. It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Really good to meet
you.
And
I genuinely recommend the book, Outrunning the Demons,
published by Bloomsbury.
Phil Hewitt, marathon addict on Twitter. Fascinating story and really powerful messages through the book that moved me close to tears on a flight to the Ukraine. It was almost embarrassing, but it's a really good book, so I do try and read it. And thanks again for the run. It was lovely to meet you. A bit chilly down there, wasn't it?
That's beautiful.
I've got to go and warm up in the car now. Thank you, Phil. Thanks again.
My pleasure. Thank you.